He's absolutely Jason, he's absolutely gay. He'll absolutely brighten up the darkest rainy day. He's funny and loves movies, he's smart and he's a Jew. He's an actor and an activist and wants to hear from you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Absolutely Jason Stuart. I'm with my guest. Say your name so I don't pronounce it wrong.
Fawzia Mirza.
Fawz is your nick, right?
It's my nick.
Yeah. I have been wanting to have you on this show for so long.
Before I was born.
Yes, before I even knew you.
Yes.
It's like The Place in the Sun. It's like I'm Elizabeth Taylor and you're Montgomery Clift.
I love that. That's so much better than Apu.
Do you remember that scene where he pulls her and he says, she goes, I loved you before I ever met you?
No, but I believe you.
Yes, and you could hear the taffet of her dress move as they move and dance on the floor. It's one of the most beautiful scenes in any movie I've ever seen.
I love it.
Because Montgomery Clift says, I loved you the minute I saw you. And she says, I loved you before I even met you.
Oh, well, that's how we feel about each other.
Oh, no, but I have, honestly. It's so great to have you on the show. And I'm so excited about having your film at Outfest, which I wish I could go to, but I'm telling you on the air that I can't go because I'm in rehearsal for the TV pilot that I'm doing.
I am very excited for you. That's a really great problem to have.
Yes, and I will come see it when the movie comes out.
Promise.
And I, definitely, because I'm a big fan of your work. Now, the name of the film is?
Signature Move.
And you wrote it and you produced it.
I co-wrote it. I produced it. I star in it. It's about a Pakistani Muslim lesbian played by me. And she is taking care of her TV-obsessed mother. And she's got two secrets from her mom. One is that she's falling in love with this Mexican-American woman. The other is that she's taken up wrestling as a hobby.
Wow.
There's definitely some lucha libre style masked wrestling in this.
So our careers, it's interesting because they're at such different ends of the stick. You're an academic of sorts. You've worked in the Goodman Theater in Chicago. You've done one-person solo shows in theaters. I'm, TV and a lot of bad TV, a lot of kooky movies, and nightclubs. So I'm like a whole.
I've been in many nightclubs.
Yes, do we know each other from nightclubs at all? I don't think so.
I would say even if we didn't know each other, it doesn't mean we didn't meet.
Yes.
Or dance.
I forgot how we met, but I think we met at Outfest.
I think it was at Outfest. It also might have been at like another festival in town that kind of in a different season. I feel like that also may have happened.
Outfest, for those at home, is the probably one of the biggest LGBT film festivals and also show business festivals in the country, and is incredibly one of the biggest in California here. And for those who are in California, and is your film sold out? But it's at 7 o'clock on Friday night at the DGA 1.
Yes, it's sort of like the prime women's slot.
But it's not just, her films are never just for women.
No, never. I mean, no. I'm so deeply
I hate that idea, I have to say. I hate the idea because
I do think it's important to have films that are made by and about women.
No, that part I love, but I hate the idea that we're still promoting things in this way, because I think we're past this.
I would agree and disagree. I would say I wish we were past it, but I mean, here's the thing: like, we live in the West where labels matter. We live in the West where people might look at me and say, "That's not what a Muslim looks like," and I'm like, "Yeah, actually, it is." And so there's so many people. I think we get caught in our bubbles where we live in this beautiful progressive space.
But this particular film festival is in that bubble.
Yes,
and the bubble people are all there. So I'm thinking that we, as a community, have to say, okay, we have moved on. And I want to know what this movie is about, and I want to know more about you, and I want to know more about what you've done, because you're the star of the movie. And I think that the festivals are director-driven.
Yeah, Outfest is definitely a director-driven.
And I do think that's a mistake in terms of getting more new people, because the audience and people that love movies don't love the directors as much as they love the actors.
Well, Outfest has been so good to me over the years. So they screened the first documentary I ever worked on. The first film was a documentary that I produced in 2009, and
which was?
It's called Fish Out of Water,
right.
A queer film. And they, since then, all my shorts that I've made have screened at Outfest.
Wow.
And they have really, really given me a platform as an artist, as a woman, as a person of color, as all the things, saying we care about you and your voice and your stories, before a lot of other people were talking about, anything that I was doing as mattering. So even though I'm not a director, it's definitely my voice and my experience and my sort of writer, creator, performer space that they've been supporting. So they've been really, really kind of a community family to me. And so I'm really excited to have the feature. And also, I think what's so cool is that some people are like, well, why do queer festivals matter? I think even
queer, you're a little younger than me, and I hear the word queer, and I still can't hear it. And then we were talking about this the other day, because when I was a kid, queer was a negative
Sure,
thing,
sure.
and it started. It's really from the Brits,
Right.
And when Queer as Folk came on, I had to really get used to that because it was such a hit show in England, and then it came on the American TV, and I had to get used to that. And now I have to say, the hairs on my neck still go up. It doesn't feel great, and then it feels like queer means that straight people can now be queers, and
Well,
yeah, because they feel that.
I think there's queer thinking. I think you can have progressive queer thinking, and I actually just had a conversation with somebody at a meeting I had where she said, yeah, this young straight white 22-year-old millennial guy is like, well, I'm queer, and I'm like, but that's a problem. That's like he's coming from every place of privilege you can imagine, and has no actual recognition.
But isn't it the same as young kids loving rap music and saying, white kids loving black rap music and saying, hey, I can use the N-word? Now, I do a joke in my act that gets a laugh every single time. I said, because I played a plantation owner in Birth of a Nation, so I had to say the N-word a lot, and I never said the N-word except maybe in my car when I was listening to Snoop Dogg. And he said that always gets a joke because we know that we're not supposed to say that.
And then we say it privately when.
But I don't. I mean,
not me. I'm saying like
but
in
I
the
think,
song.
but I think these, privately in the song, you whisper in your car. You think, should I say this? Should I say the AS version or the ER version? And then I have young kid friends that I mentor that are comedians that love this black kind of, culture, and they think that it's really confusing.
Well, I think there's a lack of
Isn't it?
intentionality and consciousness. We do a lot of things without thinking about the fact that just because it's like Christopher Columbus, he came to the West and he's like, I discovered America. And it's like, he had no consciousness about the fact that there were people here before who were here. Nobody discovered them. He just happened to stumble upon this thing. If he had had some consciousness and self-awareness and intentionality, that whole situation could have been a very different experience of Indigenous people. And I think that that's this kind of lack of awareness and self-awareness when we approach great music. Instead of being aware of the fact that, wow, who are these people making this art form? What does it mean? Where does it come from? Is there history attached to this? If we can understand that, it's very different to sort of say, wow, I appreciate this music. I want to celebrate it. I want to sing it. And still being able to create space for the people who are making it, the people whose roots it's inspired from. I mean, I would say the same thing happens to South Asian culture all the time, where it's like, oh my God, I love yoga and curry. And it's like, well, do you know where that comes from? That's like, or God, I'm so like, I love turmeric and blah, blah. It's like, well, and then those same people sometimes, and I'm talking about in LA in the bubble, will be teaching a South Asian person about the benefits of turmeric. And I'm like, girl, I've been eating lentils my whole life. Like, we invented the Ayurvedic practice of this food. This is in our earth. These spices come from our feet, from our roots, from our ground up. And so I feel like if there's just this,
Same thing being Jewish. I can't tell you how many times this. Oh, I'm Jewish injected.
are you serious?
Oh yeah, that's the phrase.
Oh,
Oh yes,
good
I'm
God.
so Jewish. I'm Italian. It's the same thing.
Ugh.
And and it's okay. It's cool with me. But you have a
See,
father.
I'm a little cringeworthy. I'm like, oh,
Well, I have a
God.
father that was in the Holocaust,
Right.
not the camps, but the ghettos.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And so for me, I say, well, not really, because you have to live with someone who has post-traumatic stress and deal with the idea of trusting no one because all of your people were taken, and then you have to live in this world as this person who people resent because you had education,
Right.
And and then you have to live with a group of people that resent you because you're gay, and it doesn't matter that you're Jewish anymore. Now you're gay, and it's a bigger thing.
Right.
So there's all these elements. No, maybe you don't want to be Jewish.
I was joking with somebody today that I think like that we should all go to the greatest extreme that our community hates, and then go step back a few moments, and they'll be like, "Oh God, you're just gay, or you're just that's great. I can take one of those. I can't take all of them." Like, I joke with the fact that like my mother, for example, always wanted me to marry a Pakistani Muslim man, but not a non-Muslim guy, not a Chinese guy or a black guy, a Pakistani Muslim man. Because I'm a lesbian now, at this point, she'd be like, "Oh my God, I don't even care if he's like a mannequin. Just let him be a man." And so
my mother just says, she used to say, it doesn't have to be Jewish. Just be someone that isn't black first. And then when I had a black boyfriend, then she was in love with him. She was like nuts with him, hitting him all the time. And now she's totally cool. She's because my boyfriend that I'm dating now is Latin, so she's going, I just love him because I love Sonia, my housekeeper. And they're best friends now. But what's really interesting about the whole learning of this
Yeah.
is that my mom is best friends with her housekeeper, for real.
Right.
She just adores her. They go to lunch, they go out shopping, and she loves her. And another friend of hers said that she didn't think that she should be friends with her housekeeper, and my mother was so upset about
Right.
that. So there is, even though we're going, oh, she says things weird, but her thought and her feeling is so evolved now because of having me as a son. It sounds so egotistical to say that, but I really feel proud of that because we're so close and I love my mom so much that she has evolved because of that. And we have now broke the chain in our family of judging somebody because of who they are, the color of the skin, their sexual preference or whatever.
Well, and I think it's fascinating because right now we're living in this cultural climate, this political climate where truly it's terrifying sometimes just to be a person.
You got to take a side.
Yeah, right. And so it's people are like, well, how do we change the world? What are we going to do? And it's so daunting to think about. And I honestly believe that the way you change the world is through one personal connection at a time.
I believe 100%.
Truly,
and
every
with that
single little
lovely
thing.
thought, we're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back here on Absolutely Jason Stewart with my guest, Fawzia
Mirza.
I want to say, because I'm always saying things wrong, and people are always writing in, Fawzia Mirza. We'll be right back in just a second. Don't change that channel. Oh my God, there's a...
Again, I am so fortunate co-hosting with me the owner of Hidden Streets of London, wall broker and urban art promoter, Danny Wood.
What's up, Paul? How's it going? It's good to be back.
LA-based artist exercising the power of words, sharing with the world motivational and inspirational messages, a writer doing time in Hollywood. Wordsmith.
Hey.
LA-based artist working on an international stage to spread positive messages paired with zany imagery. Meg Zaney.
Getting read on a daily basis all over the world, and for any writer that's just living the dream.
So this, of course,
I'm putting
you
up
can say
words that mean something to me, and the fact that they are resonating with so many people,
Makes
or just
you
with
just
the
build
masses.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually thought superheroes did street art.
Zany Miss Zany. What's your deal?
Wow. I left the corporate world. I was there for 8 years, and I just was kind of like, fuck it, I don't want to be there anymore.
That's-
Quit being a jerk to myself, basically, and
Don't be a dick.
Famous British red postbox, right? Now I'm guessing there's no permission given that.
No.
So part to do with like the monarch in terms of Elizabeth. So maybe that means she's a fan of street art. I don't know. Shouts to Liz, our queen.
Yeah.
How do you do the wave? Do you,
no, it's
you know
like
how to do the
wrist,
wave.
I don't
wrist, elbow, elbow.
I
You
don't
don't
know. I got no idea.
You don't know how to do the wave?
Fuck would I?
Great to see artists from a city so noted for its creativity coming all the way to London to brighten up a rather dull summer. How cool is that? Like Shakespeare says, words, words, words.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to Absolutely Jason Stewart. I'm Jason Stewart. This is Fawzia.
Hi.
And we are talking about your new film.
Signature move.
And is there anybody interested in releasing it? Tell me what's happening.
So it's exciting. We world premiered at South by Southwest, and we
South by Southwest, and those at home who are listening, this is a really big deal.
It's an amazing festival in Austin. It's
one of the biggest ones,
One of the
too.
biggest. It's and just it's such a diverse kind of field of art, right? So it's like panels and music and
Comedy, too.
comedy and speakers and film. So it's kind of runs the gamut.
Technology.
Technology. There's so much branding that happens there, you know. And so we were there. We had 3 screenings. It was amazing. And we're going to be releasing on Amazon Prime in February 2018.
We'll get anything in the theater?
We're gonna do. It's not public yet, but yes, there will be like some little theatrical in Chicago coming up soon. But I can't quite say exactly. But in the fall.
Wonderful. Are you disappointed, or is it cool? And I ask
I think it's all
not to
cool.
because I think this is the new thing now.
Yeah.
Because you see a movie coming out, and we used to hold on. We need that in the theater, and
Yeah.
it comes out. I mean, Birth of a Nation was in 6 weeks in the theater, and people acted like that was nothing. And I said, this is a big deal. It made $16 million for a film that cost 8.5, and people went, what did you need that for? And then when it's on streaming, people go nuts. And then when DVD, then they go a little nutser. And then when it gets on HBO, people go berserk. And so there's different. I think it's completely changed.
It's totally different. I mean, and the fact is that we can make films differently now. Like if I had waited to make, ours is a small, ultra low budget little SAG film. It's not this huge film made with lots and lots of love, and I think a story that hasn't been told before. And so for us, it's a beautiful thing I think the access to people in the digital space is way more powerful than any sort of theatrical
More people
release.
are ever going to see this on Amazon Prime than they would ever see it in the theaters.
Right. I mean, talk about the bubble. Like people who can even go to a film festival, that's a privilege. People who can, go to a theater, it's a privilege.
And it's also the 6 theaters that will play it, and what they will do, and whether
what time and what screening dates.
And what is it in the little shitty theater with the bad seats that no one wants to go with the gum all over the place? Yeah.
Right.
And now you can watch. Everybody's got these great TVs at home, and life has really changed.
Well, now you can watch a phone. So there are plenty of people in the world who live in spaces where there might be problems with everything from water to food to bathrooms, but there will be someone either with a television or like even on a cell phone. It's amazing how I think there's also that control over where it's like, we'll give you technology, we'll give you this technology, we just won't give you running water.
So let me ask you 2 things then about the film. So since being at South by Southwest, which is one of the major United States film festivals to get into, it's an incredible feat for you to do. I'm just so, when I heard about that, I was so thrilled for you. But the second thing is when you were there as an actress or as a writer, are you being courted? Are people calling you? Are you having meetings? Are they interested in you?
A lot of women are calling me. Yes, I'm kidding. But
well, that's always happened to you.
No, but you do. I mean, there's meetings. And I'm someone.
They're calling you though.
Yes,
that's really exciting.
But it's also I don't believe in waiting for anything, or if someone calls you and makes you an offer or is interested, I don't feel like that's enough. I'm a firm believer in I will hustle until I die.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I feel.
But I don't even like to use the word hustle because I've changed the words and the language and the way I do things. I don't network. I meet people that I dig and I say, hey, Fawzia, I said it to you at this festival. I said, I want you on my show.
Yeah.
I want your point of view. I want people to meet you. I want them to know about your movie. Yeah. I want them to know about you.
Yeah.
In the same way, in a much, much smaller way, when I saw Chavela at the festival, which is about the singer Chavela Vargas, who was basically a bar singer with a beautiful voice, and all of a sudden this lesbian woman from the 50s and 60s, her life is obviously very difficult living in Mexico, being a lesbian woman who didn't say she was lesbian, but obviously a lesbian, as much as you could be then. And then all of a sudden she becomes an alcoholic because, not all of a sudden, but it happens, and her life goes downhill. And then Pedro Abadar hears her music and says, I want this woman's music in my film, and takes her and presents her to Spain on a dish. I mean, this is all I can do is I can put you on my show. I can say I'm doing a movie and I'd love you to be in it.
Am I on a dish right now?
Sort of. You're on my little, TV platter.
Yeah.
I mean, but he does this big guy, and he brings this woman and completely changes the last 20 years of her life.
Well,
she becomes a sensation.
What's so beautiful about that is that I think we all have this potential and power, right? Both for ourselves, but also for other people. That's why I'm such a believer in collaboration and like connecting to people, is that who knows who I may meet tomorrow that I think, oh my God, you have to meet Jason Stuart. He is working on something that you will love. And that to me is like how we can all help each other, not just as artists, but just as human beings.
I saw you in something, and I don't know what it was, and I'm going to be really, really honest.
Dreams, fantasies.
No, I saw you in some film, and I'm not going to even say because I don't want to, because I don't like, but the film was not the best.
Great.
But you were so good, and you popped out to me, and that's what I remember. It was an okay film.
Sure.
But there was something, and I thought to myself, why is this woman not the lead? And the other one, you know what I mean? And and that's what I was thinking. And then you think because, and it's basically, it's the color of the skin. You're not old enough, or you're too old, or you're too fat, or you're too tall, or you're too, and the girl.
Too gorgeous.
Or the girl that.
I get that all the time. You know what I mean?
But
People
you know what I'm saying
gorgeous.
is that we haven't evolved to the point yet where people who are the most talented now, but by making your own projects, this is where this look at Lena Dunham.
Yeah.
You know, Judd Apatow went like this.
Yeah.
And Lena Dunham became Lena Dunham.
Well, and I mean, it is fascinating to be an actor who goes into a room and, you know, the way casting is not the most beautiful.
It's an awful
The
experience.
casting room is not a beautiful place to be and to live and to work. And to rely on your self-worth in that space, I think, is really dangerous. But I've gone into rooms where I'm clearly being, what is being expressed to me is that even if it's a lesbian role, you're not lesbian enough or in the right way that they want with the certain hair and the this. Or you're not Muslim enough, even though I am Muslim. Or you're not feminine enough, even though I'm actually pretty fucking, whoops, curly.
You can say fucking.
Great. And so...
Fuck.
Oh, there I did.
Fuck.
All
Whatever we
the
want.
fucks happened.
We're on
That's fine.
the internet. We can do whatever we want.
That's true. I was like, oh, my mom might be listening. No, she's definitely not. But you know,
My mother's still holding her phone going, what's going on?
she's yelling at you in all caps. But you know, we're in a place where you're told you are not enough, even though you exactly, precisely, specifically inhabit all of those identities. So you have to create, or you will die.
It's this
in
point.
This business.
During the awards season last year of going to all these events for Birth of a Nation, I didn't really know how to. I'd never been in such a big movie, and I'd never been in this situation. And I went to one thing where Tom Hanks, who I think is a brilliant actor, is getting an award, and he's getting this award for his career, and they call him the Everyman. And I sat there and I thought to myself, why is he the Everyman? Because he's white, because he's heterosexual, because he appears to be Christian.
Yes.
You know, yes.
That's exactly why.
And it seems so he can
That's
do
a problematic
everything,
word, yeah.
And the rest of us have to wait in line for our turn.
to be the everyman's buddy.
Yeah. And I don't. I want to tell you, I want to be the buddy. I like being.
Yeah, I agree with
I
you.
like being the supporting character. I have no problem with that. But I just find it interesting that really made me think. I learned so much from being in this world that I had not been in this kind of way.
Yeah.
And to be included as a fly on the wall, you know, since I'm just a supporting actor, I don't have to. I'm on the side, and I get to watch everything during this award season and see how things go down. And there's still this. I hate prejudice. I think of everything dances around this kind of person, and even the people of color and the women and the gays, everybody, they dance around it too.
Well, look, I mean, I think that even within our own communities, we do that. I mean, when I first started going to gay bars and meeting people, they were so confused that I represented all these different worlds. They were like, I don't know any Muslim lesbians. And I'm like, well, I'm right here. I'm not a hologram. You know? And so I think there's a lot of work to do. And I think that this year is very exciting, both for me as an artist, but I think for us as communities to come together and say, okay, we're going to stand up for all of us. How do we better create and work for all of us?
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
You've been left on your own like a rainbow in the dark. A rainbow in the dark. Do your demons, do they ever let you go? When you try to hide deep inside, is there someone that you know?
I cannot put my finger on it now. The child
Hey, welcome back to Absolutely Jason Stewart. I'm here with my friend Fawzia, and we're talking about her new film, Significant.
Significant films called Signature Move.
Signature Moves, yes. I'm so sorry. Oh, God. Today, my mind is just too much going on in my mind.
No, it's fine.
I love Signature Move.
I'm the autocorrect.
No, it's fine because Signature Move is. I love that. It's like a come on, isn't it? This is my move. This is how I get in.
It could be like in wrestling. It's definitely seen as like that's your finishing move. That's the thing. That you do
okay.
That like identifies who you are. But I feel like it's such a beautiful metaphor in life. Like we all have these things that we do, whether it's in a romantic situation or when you're just hanging out.
Oh, definitely.
You know, so I kind of love that.
Let's show a couple film pictures from the film, pictures from your career. What's that? This was something I picked up. What's that?
Let's see. Okay, so the middle picture I did, I was speaking at a TEDx thing. The picture on the right, last year at the White House, I was given an award as a champion of change in Asian American art and storytelling.
At the White House?
Yes, I do want you to know that did not happen at the White House this year. No Asians were invited to the White House during Asian American.
Oh, honey, just be lucky if a woman was asked. Never mind.
The only
we're going back to that.
Well, I can't tell you. The only Asian that was invited to the White House was Russian.
Next.
You're welcome.
This is one of your characters.
Yeah, this was a character I did for a play, not mine, but for the development of a play at a Silk Road Rising, a theater company in Chicago.
I love it. What's this? What's the next one?
I love this. This is a fun. Oh, this is from Fish Out of Water, the first film that we ever did at Outfest. That's the director Kai Dickens and the other producer Kristen Kaza.
I know Kai. I've met her.
Yeah, exactly. So she's a great feature filmmaker, making some more cool projects.
Fish Out of Water was a lot of fun.
Yeah, animated and not animated.
Yeah, I loved it.
God, these are really going through the memory banks.
I thought this is.
Kim Kardashian. This is from the first web series I made, where I play the long lost lesbian Kardashian sister.
I love that.
Lives in Chicago. You know.
Yeah, Brown Girl Problems. I love that.
So this. I
love the title.
I did some. I sort of am a self-proclaimed brown girl, right? And
do you know Russell Peters? Because he says brown too, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'd heard that expression.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's also a great new web series that came out that HBO just recently picked up to develop, made by my friends. It's called Brown Girls, and it's out of Chicago. There's actually just an article in The Atlantic about it. It's being made by Sam Bailey and Fatima Asghar. So they're black and South Asian. Writer director.
That's a whole different. So we're talking about, in the break, we were talking about being a Muslim, and you're a Muslim. It sounds like in the same way that I'm a Jew. It's really about your culture. You're really a cultural Muslim. It's really a part of who you are, and you have a strong sense of your own God or your own higher power. Or
I mean, I don't think I'm necessarily very ritualistic, but the idea of sort of affiliating myself with any other sort of religious identity doesn't really make sense to me, and I am literally shaped by my religion. Whether I go towards the rituals or go against them, I recognize them, and they still bring me great peace, and the community is beautiful.
See, being Jewish, I have sadness around a lot of it because there's a lot of sadness.
That's why I write, is to like kind of
because there is joy, but there's for me the humor, the food, the sense of my mom is the funniest person, and it's in the world, and her Jewishness comes from that.
Sure,
but then there's also the sadness of being cut out or the way people think of you because you are. And I was saying that there's 1 billion Muslims in this country, and not every Muslim is practicing their religion in the same way.
Right. I mean, it's
as
like
no Christian is.
It's like it's like anybody. It's like people who wear blue shirts all are the same kind of blue shirt wearing person, or they wear the same shade of blue. You know what I mean? Look at this. I wear denim. You wear the little swirly paisleys, right? But we're both wearing blue shirts.
Exactly. Doesn't mean we're wearing the color in the same way.
Right.
But that's what I see. You see somebody yell at. So if there's any kids or anybody listening to this that has an idea, like Bill Maher keeps talking about it in his show, and I dig him a lot. But he keeps talking about.
He's a little problematic.
Always. But at least he's bringing up the discussions of the things that I want to talk about. And I don't always agree with him. But this is something I don't agree with him. Is he's saying, well, in the Quran, this is what they believe. And I'm saying, well, look up anything in any religion, and there's some cockamamie thing. There's something in the, they say in the Jewish book somewhere. Someone told me that if your daughter talks back to you, you have to stone her to death.
Yeah.
I mean, dear
that
God.
definitely is there in all these old texts.
Someone's always getting stoned.
So I know, exactly. They're still doing it in California, okay?
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like these books are old, and so that makes sense that that's something they did.
I don't think that
in the
probably
past.
ever made sense. But that's just me.
Actually, you're right. You're completely right.
Yeah, but it
Or
made
that
sense to them. And
Right, it
and I
made
was
sense to
talking
them.
to a woman once, and I was sitting in a cafe, and she was telling me she was a minister, and she was telling me about something in the Bible that she had read, and there was the first word, and I wish I could remember what it was. And she said, "Well, this word." I said, "Well, what does that word mean?" She said, "Well, word's this." I said, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "Because I study the Bible." I said, "Do you speak Aramaic?" And she says, "No." I said, "Well, that's what this was written in originally. So unless you speak Aramaic, or you know what the colloquialisms of your time were, how can you know exactly what this means? And to believe 100%, you have to be open to interpretation. You know?
Well, and also, I mean, like, you know, this is an opinion that isn't necessarily popular with all Muslims or all people of religious background, but I mean, words can definitely be interpreted in different ways.
Oh man,
You know what I mean?
Fag in London means sticks.
Right.
Is the word sticks, and
Right.
sticks were a bunch of sticks rolled in would be cigarette sticks.
So then it's a matter of like
And I hear that word,
misinterpreting the words.
yeah, and it's just like what they wrote on my locker when I was a kid in school, you know. So, and I was one of those kids that was, and I've talked about it a lot, bullied and stuff in school. So these words had power for me as a kid, you know.
Yeah.
Let's show some more pictures.
Oh boy, what happens next? Yeah. So that's from South by Southwest. That's my co-star and the.
Is that her hair? Or is that
Sari
a hat?
Sanchez on the left. That's her. That's a hat. That's
Okay.
director Jennifer Reeder in the middle.
Oh, I love
and
her.
that's Brown Girl Me. It was after. That was the day after our premiere. She was so much fun. We had a great time.
Do another one.
What's next? That is Laura Zach, the co-creator and co-star of Her Story.
Oh, what a
which
great
was a beautiful series, and this was
Emmy
a short
nominated.
film we did.
The only,
Yeah.
the only show in the short film category that was not attached to another big show or something that was done by a network. The only independent thing that was done, and I was so excited.
Well, and it was to be there. I mean, Children's Hospital ultimately won. Was their
But Children's Hospital is done by a major
Right.
network, and
Yes.
even though that was the only original series, the other ones were all
Huge.
spin-offs of a show.
Yeah.
You know, and which I think is wrong for that short film category. But
But
that's just me.
it was amazing. I mean, we got to go to the I'd never been before. You know, Jen Richards and Angelica Ross and all these just like beautiful. Catherine Fisher, the producer, Laura Zach. We all went, and it was just a powerful testament to the possibility of now and creating your own work. Everybody told them this, writing a trans show and a lesbian show and about the connection and the stories of these women wouldn't matter. And now you have, you know, Jen Richards, just this prolific writer, showing up on shows like Nashville. You have Angelica Ross, this just gorgeous, like,
I did a short film
goddess,
with her.
you know.
Yeah.
She's
wonderful.
making
She's working.
stuff. She's on Claws now. And they're writing and creating lots and lots of other projects.
Show us another picture.
This was a promo before Signature Move, my feature, was ever made, just to
Who's that guy in the back?
I know. I know. It's framed like that, right?
I love it, but I love him that he's just there.
He's hanging out with the popcorn. He's
Yeah.
taking the popcorn. Tiffany Bedwell was the actress on the right. Did a promo to prep for a Chicago pitch competition, which really was the beginning. Like, you think about, like, well, what's the provenance of making an indie film? For me, it was connecting with the Chicago producer, but then making a promo, getting into this Chicago International Film Festival pitch competition, where we then were in front of, like, someone like Amy Hobby, you know, who made What Happened, Miss Simone, who's the head of the Tribeca Film Institute, and you know, someone from the Sundance Films, and pitching in front of these amazing human beings who then are like, I like what you're doing, let's stay in touch. You know, and those were those beginning stages before you even know where you're going.
And to come from the back door, not to go in the other front door.
I don't always like the back door, but you know,
I do.
I believe
no,
you
really
in the
is
back.
it, because I think sometimes, well, you're being funny, but you know what I'm saying is, I love it when somebody comes in through the sliding glass door on the side, and somebody and they appear, and it's somebody who's been working as hard as you have and has been doing good work.
Well, and I think that, like, it's important, I think, for our own sense of, like, well, to do this job, to do any of these jobs, you have to be positive, you have to work hard, stay focused, and to maintain all of that is not easy.
No.
But you have to know that if your path is different than what everybody else's is, it's okay. And so I've sort of accepted the fact that I'm going to take this We're brown girl on a circuitous path, and I'm going to enjoy the view, and I'm going to enjoy the time because it's.
But there are downtimes.
awesome.
It's hard sometimes.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But like,
I remember 2 weeks ago I was
That's
sitting in
cool.
bed and going, God, nothing's happening. I'm not getting anything there.
and then you're like, oh, and then I'm making pie on Friday, Fawzia. I cannot come to your movie. You know what I mean? That happens, and that's where I think having a good support system and also like just taking care of yourself matters.
I think so too. Show us another picture. Do we have any more? Oh.
This was my first short film I made that Kim Yutani programmed at Outfest. She's since left Outfest. She's at Sundance. It's called The Queen of My Dreams. The woman on the right, I made her a man. I took the most beautiful South Asian woman, made her a man. Her name's Malza Makar. She's actually starring in the Mindy Kaling pilot, my Mindy Kaling show as one of the leads. Her name's Brittany in the film, in the TV show, and she is just a prolific actress. She was also on Vampire Diaries and a bunch of other stuff. But this is a recreation of a famous Bollywood movie scene.
How do you feel about the idea of straight women playing lesbian characters? How do you feel about that?
I feel more strongly about somebody of the race they are playing, the race they're playing. And because I do think that sexual identity, who you sleep with, is a bit more on a spectrum, can be more fluid, and can evolve, right? But your race is your race, you know. And so if you are South Asian, you're not going to not be South Asian, even if you never eat or drink South Asian food, or if you never go to South Asia.
But what if you're a South Asian person character in a film that just has no connection to that, but you just happen to be?
Well, I think there's a lot to learn. I mean, I get it, but I think that like just because someone, let's say you have a white person and a South Asian person, I don't know how the white person is going to be any more South Asian than, and obviously that means you have to find the right person, and you might have to be really creative in your casting. I think a great example is my movie, the mother character in my movie, the woman who plays my mom, to have a woman who's of the right age, who can speak the language fluently, who can do the comedy and the drama. She barely exists in the United States. So we had to do the work and got one of the most famous Indian film stars, Shabana Azmi, from India to come and play my mother.
Wow.
But
how did you do? Well, that's a longer story.
That's a longer story.
For another time.
Yeah,
I still want to know that.
But that matters.
No, I think it does. I think it does too. The problem I have with all of it is that white guys get to play everything and the rest of us don't. So if I'm going to give up my gay roles to straight people, then I should be able to play their parts. But we don't be able to get to...
Well, that's sort of like an eye for an eye, right?
Well, I believe it, but I do believe it because you can't, because it's not even an eye for an eye. It's the idea that they're allowed to make a living, but you're not because of who you are.
Yeah, and I don't think they should, though.
No, and it seems, and they can do everything, and they're...
Right, that's what we got to change.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. It's, one person at a time.
Right.
And giving people opportunity.
I mean, that
and empowering people.
Casting was so important for that reason. If I'm going to believe in my own authenticity, how can I uphold the authenticity of every single other person? And so and I think we have this tiny little power in all of our lives that way. And for me, that was mine. And so the people we saw in the room, the casting agency in Chicago was like, we've never seen so many different kinds of people come in for the role of Killian, because I wrote it could be a gender fluid kind of person or name, and I wanted to see who just really
showed up,
inhabited this beautiful space.
God, I wish we had more time to talk. I got to tell you, they're playing the music. The next show's happening. Please, if you can, look up this beautiful woman, see her work.
The lesbians are coming.
The lesbians are coming. I think they're already here.
The lesbians are here.
Please, how can people find you if they want to? Your website?
My website, Fawzia Mirza, www.fawziamirza.com.
If you can't spell it or say it, just go to jasonstewart.com, Stuart. Send me a message and I will connect you with her. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Take care and thank you so much.
Thank you.